going to let both YouTube and TikTok know, let people know that I am live before I go into our entire intro here. So I don't have to do it multiple times. And I'm also going to be bringing up my backup account so that I can see TikTok's comments. YouTube, your comments are shut off. And there's a reason for that. Oop, I'm going to go here. All right. Right now, TikTok is letting everybody know I am live. There we go. I see it. All right. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Carol. I am the owner and creator of everything you find at CarolJo's.com. I am in the comments on YouTube or on TikTok. Let's move that. There on YouTube. Sorry. One of my granddaughter's friends is trying. She's not getting it that I'm live. There, I just sent her a message. Hopefully she'll stop. All right. So my name is Carol, like I was saying. I do lots of different things on social media here than talk about my own personal jewelry business. We do different things. I'm going to move that just a little bit more. There we go. Here we talk about tutorials. We have those twice a week. We had one yesterday where we made a necklace. We also do sales on TikTok only. And that is where we sell all the stuff that you can use to make jewelry. And then we have chat time twice a week, which is what we're having right now. So this is chat time. Chat time is a time where hi, River Horse, where you get to ask any type of question that you would like about making jewelry, anything about jewelry type things. What cages are you talking about, Rainbow? Are you talking about those wire spiral cages? And you can ask anything about small businesses too. I believe I have some left. Let me just grab that tray, okay? Hold on. These are the two that I have left over from last night. No way, that is so cute. I love it, Holly. That is an aw. Let's see. That one. Nope, I do not have any more, but I am ordering more, just to let you know. We're going to also order them in bigger sizes than just the 9mm. So those did sell out. Sorry. Here, I'm going to double check right here and make sure. Here is where I sold out of items. That's why I was like, I didn't think I sold out, but I don't see them. Is it in here? Yes, I got them right here to order. All right. Thank you, River Horse, Holly, for the subscription. That just reminds me, on Monday night, we will be having our subscriber night on TikTok. So I know with YouTube, you guys subscribe to like follow, but on YouTube or on TikTok, subscription means something different. That is where you guys you pay $2.99 a month, and we do one live that is specifically for subscribers, and it's always the last Monday of the month. So that's going to be June 30th. We're going to do that. I am going to pull the beads for that sale tomorrow. So I'll know more about what we're going to have up for sale tomorrow. And I'm going to try to do a kit too, but I don't know what kind of kit I want to do. So I got to figure that part out. And we were supposed to have a double header baseball games tomorrow. My schedule has just been all over the place. They canceled them last night. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that, Holly. Um, so what kind of questions? And I'm sorry, YouTube, right now. Oh, it's always $2.69 for your first month. They do decrease it. So yeah, so it's down. They give you a little bit of an offer here on TikTok to do that. So sorry to everybody on YouTube. I had to I sent you an email on that con. Did you get the email? The links are in that email. The comments that were coming across on our last chat time were inappropriate, so I did turn them off today. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, River Horse, for the puffed hearts. I'll change that goal. Let's see. You got to go up here. Whoops, there we go. Thank you, thank you. All right, new goal. So also, I forgot to say over on TikTok, if you guys can share the live and do the likes, that helps get it pushed out to more people to let them know that we are here. There we go. So that helps us out. I had something come up this morning that made me stop and think, something that we have not, I think, talked about on our lives. So I came with a little bit of notes about what someone brought up to me this morning in a message. And it wasn't a negative message by any means. It just made me stop and pause and go, I don't think we've ever talked about this. So I thought today, maybe if we have time and if you guys would like to talk about it, we could. If we don't, I will incorporate it into a discussion time type tutorial if you guys want that. But what it was is it was about the different types of metals. And from that, also thinking about it from the aspect of what's the pros and cons of each one kind. There are lots of different metals out there, and understanding what the benefits are and what are some of the drawbacks of it might be something you guys want to talk about. So I thought I would come prepared today so we can talk about it if you want it. So those of you on TikTok, will you let me know? Is that something that you would like? Thanks, Ray, for the love you so much. I appreciate that. So just say yes or no. It's not going to hurt my feelings if we don't talk about it today. I'll just incorporate it in a future talk. Okay, and there's okay, we've got some yeses. Okay, so the topic of the copper and that tarnishing, there's a reason for it. When we get to the copper section, I'm thinking there's copper on here. It should. Yes, there is. Number 6 is copper. There's 9 different metals that I went and did a little bit on. I will tell you guys, I know some of this stuff, but I also, once again, used AI. You will have, Rainbow, some of those coming to you. All right. So don't worry. And I'm going to order more. If I can get them in, I'll order more. There are 9 different metals that AI gave me back. It didn't give me all, and I asked for more, and then it gave them all to me. So they're not in any particular order, but this is what it is. So the first one, which I think a lot of us know about, is sterling silver. Hi, Chris. How are you doing today? I hope better than good, because we're having a good chat time. We're going to have a good one. We're going to talk about metals. So sterling silver, we all know, we love sterling silver. It is one of the most, I'm going to say malleable, because it is a very soft metal that you can be able to bend it. Oh, thank you, Chris. You know, I always talk about when we do the crimp tubes, they need to be sterling silver because that it hardens. When you work with it, it hardens and keeps where it's hardened at. So that is why I say it is great. But we also talk about, I don't use a lot of sterling silver because of the price. So we've talked about some of those pros and cons. But one of the things is that sterling silver is hyperallergenic for most people. There are some people who can't wear sterling silver, but it is one of the metals that a lot of people can wear. It is long lasting because it's durable. Once it hardens, it is very durable. And to polish or clean it, you just need to have a cloth and use those polishing cloths on it. But in the con part of that is that it will tarnish over time because it will it does. If you leave it sit out in air, it is one of the fastest ones to tarnish. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys are. Yep. And Ray's saying she's allergic to most metals and she can wear that one. I actually have someone in my life that I call her my second mom. She can't even wear sterling silver. She has to wear pure gold because of the different reactions that her body has to it. Our bodies are all different and we all have different reactions to it. Hi, Blue. So that is stainless steel. A lot of you do like that was sterling silver. Sorry, sterling silver. That was that one. Stainless steel is the one that a lot of you like to get in. Thank you, Carrie, for the follow. And the reason being is that it is a very durable. It is one of those that it is more affordable than sterling silver for those that have the hyperallergenic, you have the allergies to it. It is more hyperallergenic than a lot of other metals. It's not as high as sterling silver, but it's for an affordability. That's the price point that a lot of people like. And it is tarnish resistant and doesn't rust. That is another great point about it. So those are some things that it makes it really, really nice to have. But the cons to sterling silver is that it is heavier than other metals. Yep, Chris likes stainless steel, he says. So yeah, and it's true. A lot of people do like the stainless steel. And for me, I don't like heavy on me, and that's why I personally don't like stainless steel as much as others. And I get it. That you guys love it. So I'm not saying my opinion is better than your opinion, in no means. I just don't like how heavy it can be. So we were making the necklaces yesterday, and one of the chains, which I can't get to, I buried it over there. It is stainless steel, but that chain is very small, and it is actually way heavier than some of my bigger chains, like where they have the larger links and stuff. And it's just because of the weight of the metal, and it is what it is. Things that are cons about it is not normally one of those shiny metals. When you get stainless steel, it is like a dull, and it's so funny because you think platinum should be the bright shiny, and it isn't. Platinum is the duller of the silvers. And so it is in that platinum color is what you're going to get more times than not when you get stainless steel in the silver color. And I just like the bright silvers more. So it really comes down to what you like. And for me, I like the shinier silvers. I like the less weight, but that's my opinion of it. But my opinion when I make jewelry to sell isn't in all of my jewelry. So you will see, I will use stainless steel. I will use other base metals because it's not all about what I like. And the one thing that is so funny because I don't usually use stainless steel head pins, and I never thought about it because I had started using them when I first started creating jewelry. They're very, very hard to do that wire wrap part at the top, and the way I do making dangles, and it hurts my hands. I know it sounds weird, but I don't use them because that hurts my hands. And we were using them the other day. I didn't even think about what head pins I grabbed. And I was trying to cut it and I was having the hardest time cutting it. And that is because they were stainless steel. I thought I had grabbed my other head pins that are not stainless steel, and I had a hard time cutting them. I don't know if I still have some in stock, Chris, or not. So those were just some, like I had a few extras from when I ordered that didn't make a full bag, and I was using them that day. And it was like, and it was funny because Rosie was like, it was either Rosie or Maria here made a comment and asked, "Are they stainless steel?" And I'm like, yeah. That's why I'm having a hard time cutting it. I've never, we don't have that on our list. Now I'm going to have to look that one up, Blue. All right. And what I'm looking for now, and this is why I've thought about this discussion when we were talking, or when I was talking with that individual this morning, because they were asking about gunmetal as the color, and can I get it in something else than like aluminum or iron, that type of thing. And I said, I can look for it in stainless steel. When you get into the gold and the gunmetal coated stainless steel, it does get a little bit more pricey, but it's cheaper than like your gold filled or your gold plated. Yep, I have a lot of pewter charms, and I like that. So then that brings us to gold filled. Gold filled is where you have a bonded gold layer, not just a plated, but it's bonded into the metal over a base metal. So it will decrease the amount of sensitivity that you have to it. But over time, even though it's bonded in there, that layer may come off. It doesn't normally as bad as like gold plated, but it's a better option, a more affordable option than just pure gold. So it looks and feels like a gold item, like the solid gold, but it's not as expensive. And it doesn't tarnish. That metal does not tarnish. So, like I said, it is more expensive than the other metals, but it's not as expensive as gold. And you have to watch how you care for that too. All right. I'm just going down my list. So if you guys have comments, please put them in there. Blue says she loves electroplated metals. Yes, and that's where they bonded in there. And that makes it a lot less likely that it's going to tarnish. The next one was what I was kind of hitting on when we were talking about gold filled, and that is gold plated. Gold plated is of the golds the most affordable. It will look gold, but it will wear off over time. And I'm not talking like tomorrow it's going to wear off. It takes a few years for it to wear off on which ones I've used as gold plated. But that's how I store my jewelry, different than I think a lot of other people, which I also have some tips at the end here about storing stuff to help you understand if you store them a different way, it might not tarnish. So we'll talk about that. But the thing is that the gold plated will tarnish faster than the other golds. And it's just because if you're wearing your jewelry and it's a hot day and you sweat, it will tarnish. You have to get out a cloth, and sometimes it will come off. Sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on the beads, just to let you know. So it's not something that you wear every single day. It is something that you would wear occasionally if you like gold. I'm not a gold person, so I personally don't wear a lot of gold, either gold plated, gold filled, or even gold jewelry. But that's just me. I like silver. Yep. And you will have some that don't come back. Yep. And that's one thing that we're going to talk about is that. And also, I'll tell you how I store my jewelry in just a minute. We have, I think, 5 more to go. And then I'm going to talk about that. So I'm not trying to I just want to make sure I get everything, all my points that I printed off. But you guys are going to laugh about how I store jewelry. The next one is brass. You can have brass as your base metal, and then and it will be fine. Now, it's really inexpensive when you have brass. brass is really easy to manipulate, like if you're doing wire wrapping or that type of thing. But we've talked about when you have brass based, or the plated, I call it the plated crimp tubes. Brass doesn't harden like sterling silver. So if you're going to use brass as your metal for a crimp tube or crimp bead, your style isn't going to last very long. So you do need to know what kind of base metals you're doing for what you're using it for. So in this case, if I'm going to use it for a for the crimp tube, it's not going to be the greatest. I will tell you that. It just, you guys know, there are very few things that I say, this is gospel type thing. Sterling silver crimp tubes is where I'm saying, just do it. And for gold items, I've never told you guys this, I don't think, but for gold, I actually use gold filled crimp tubes. And so instead of having, like the gold plated, because they work better. They're not as great as sterling silver, but it is a little better. Hi, Candy. Yep, some people do not like the plated metals at all. They're like, that's not part of my aesthetic that I use. And that's perfectly fine, because it's really about what you want to use on your jewelry and what do you want to have your customers or clients have for the longevity of the jewelry. One thing with brass is when it tarnishes, it will usually turn green. And I don't mean your fingers or your neckline or your ears turn green. I'm talking about the metal will turn green. There is a difference, because when you get to copper, yep, you have to know what you're making and what you want to use it for. Exactly, Blue. You are correct. And then when you have brass sometimes you have to understand, when I'm reading you guys the descriptions, I try to buy as much as I can nickel free, but it isn't always possible. So you will hear me say things, well, hi Geraldine, that'll be nickel free, cadmium free, or lead free. So when we're talking about the metals, and I'll give you the information that I have on that so that you can make an informed decision. A lot of people will have a nickel allergy. I have a child that has a huge nickel allergy. So I always try to buy as much as possible that's nickel free. I can't always 100% of the time bring you nickel free. And we know when something is not nickel free, she can't wear it. And I mean, we're talking, she gets big, huge, like if she puts earrings in that have nickel in it, she gets big, huge welts within minutes. That is how her reaction is. And if you have a finger that turns your finger green, that is a copper base. Hi, sweetheart strings. So with that, the brass base, you just have to be really careful if you have that allergy. Thank you, sweetheart strings, for the heart me. I appreciate that. But and I will have people that will come up to me and ask, do you have, when I'm in person shows, do you have stuff that's nickel free? And I try to know which items are nickel free and which ones are not, so that they can do it. I don't mark it. Probably should if I were going to do a lot more of them, but I don't do a whole lot of in-person shows. Thank you, Candy. So that's one thing to think about for those individuals. When you are talking about, Chris, your fingers turn green from some items, that usually means it is a copper base. You can have plated with copper. So copper is very malleable, so you can really form things. But what I found is the rings that I make with the wired wrap rings, the copper base rings do not stay in the shape as well as like the brass. So, and then just to let you know, so it is very, very malleable. I just have found copper doesn't always hold its shape as well as the other metals. I don't know what you guys all think. You guys can put it in the chat here what you guys think. But the reaction that you're talking about where your finger turns green, it is really an allergy that you have about your pH of your skin and such. And so if you're, and I call it an allergy, but it's really probably not an allergy. It's more about how your body's pH level is and it's reacting to the copper. I do not, for some reason, I never turn green. My sister turns green within a day. So if she puts on those rings like that, it will turn the back here on her finger. It will be like that green. And if she wears it for 2 days, it will turn to black. Yep, I like having a brass for head pins. My personal thing is to have a brass based head pin because it doesn't, or an iron, because they will work a little bit too. They are very movable, but they're not as stiff as that's the word I'm going to use, stiff, as the stainless steel, and they're easier to cut. I don't like copper head pins because they are just, you just go and you're like, oh, is that going to hold? I know it sounds silly, but those are just my personal preferences. Copper is not hyperallergenic. Yep, and it really is. It's about your skin and your body reacting to that metal. So the next metal, yep, it's not as sturdy. I have found it is not as sturdy. The next one we have is aluminum. Aluminum, the aluminum, I will tell you, allows kind of like what Blue was talking about earlier, where you can do the electroplating. Aluminum allows plating easier than other metals. Yep, exactly. And it's, if your body likes that better, that's what you need to do. So when you get, so I have a whole bunch of jump rings. I will tell you, I've had them for years. These jump rings, I've got them in like 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 8, and 10. I bought them in all these colors. I have probably about 10 different colors, and I have them in all the sizes. They are an aluminum-based jump ring that has a plated of color around them. The plating of color doesn't wear off very quickly with those. They are very lightweight. They are very vibrant colors. So it is a great thing. The one thing with aluminum, so that chain that I had last night, we had 3 chains. The one is my favorite chain, and then we had the other 2. The other 2 are aluminum. We had it in silver and gold, and I said I was going to order the gunmetal of it too. That chain is big, and when you get chain that big and you have it as even a brass base, iron base, or sterling, or not sterling silver, stainless steel, those chains can be very heavy. So for me, I personally like the aluminum when you have larger chain, so it isn't so heavy to wear. My total opinion. And it isn't that expensive to buy aluminum over some of the other metals. It is softer. So sometimes it will, like on my jump rings, if I put something heavy on them, it will open the jump ring because it is so soft and the weight of something will open it. It's very easy to open. But it is, hold on, I'm going to not go live with someone else while I'm doing this. Decline. But the thing that you need to think about with aluminum is that most of our vehicles right now are being made with aluminum. If you didn't know, I only know because of my husband. He is a car fanatic. My jump rings I have are aluminum based. I have a whole bunch of aluminum based jump rings that are different colors because the aluminum the plating that you can put on aluminum fuses better with aluminum than other metals. But because aluminum is a softer metal, they open easier. So you can't put heavy weight stuff on those jump rings. So when you think about the car, that's okay. You can ask. the cars right now are being made with aluminum. They are lighter because of that. They don't rust. I live in South Dakota where we put stuff down on our roads because of the snow and the ice, mostly for ice. But that mixture of what they put down on the roads, if you have a steel-based car, your car will rust. Aluminum will not rust with that. So it is a tarnish. It will tarnish over a long period of time. So like if you look at it, from a time perspective, that gold fill or the gold plated will tarnish first. Then it would be like your brass, then iron, and then aluminum. So it will take a lot longer for aluminum to tarnish, but we're talking a very long time. So that's the one good thing about aluminum. So it has pros and cons too. I mean, I like using it because it's lightweight. You can get the different colors, all of that. But if I am doing if I'm using gemstones, I don't want to use aluminum because the gemstones are usually heavier and will open your jump rings. Just my 2 cents. Then iron, I'm going to talk about next. Iron is one of those really strong, durable ones. I mean, we all know iron, it's hard, it's durable. But it has more of a industrial look to it because it is more of what we think about when you think metals in like machining and that type of thing. So you don't get it in fun colors. If you don't have a plating or a coating on iron, it will rust. It is one of those that it will rust. And like when we were talking earlier, when I said do, it will rust. But I don't coat my iron because I usually get it plated. That's just my thing. Some people have asked me if I spray things on my my items so that they won't tarnish, and I do not. But there are sprays out there or that you can put on your items to do that. Iron has some components in it, like the nickel, that type of, it just got some components that it can cause irritability to skin. So it's not hyperallergenic like the others. And it's heavy. No offense about it. It is a heavy metal. But like when we're going back to those gemstones that we were talking about, I would prefer to use the iron because of the weight of them. Thank you, Mimi's Cajun Cafe, for the follow. Then the one that I will probably never ever buy, never ever own because it's so expensive is titanium. It's hyperallergenic. If you have sensitive skin, it's one of the best things to get it in silver. It is one of the best to get. But it's expensive. And you can't really alter it. And it takes special equipment for it. So I never deal with titanium. So those are the metals that I know about. Are there some metals that you guys want to bring up and talk about? I don't usually have notes, but I was like, oh, I want notes for this time. Because I thought we could talk about it. Since it is chat time. And it's not all about me just regurgitating stuff. So for stainless steel, I just use my flush cutters. But I tend to go through flush cutters faster when I do it with stainless steel. I can cut them with it. I don't, like your memory wire, that is stainless steel also. And so, but I only do that with memory wire. Okay, I don't know about that one. So I'm going to have to look that one up. I'm writing that down because I want to look it up and familiarize myself. And I've heard that, but I've never bought it. I've heard about it, but I just have never bought it. So now I'm going to be like, okay, I got to know more about it. All right. Sterling silver, titanium, gold filled, I believe was one. I'm going to double check here. Stainless steel is a majority of the time. I'm not going to say 100%, a majority of the time. All right. I think those are the ones. Yep, those are the ones that I will say are hypoallergenic. Now, Blue was kind of talking about, thank you. I just thought we would talk. I didn't know if you guys had questions, but I'm like, after having that conversation this morning, I'm like, I'm bringing this here to chat time. Blue was bringing up about like how to store jewelry. She talked about there are sheets that you can put next to your jewelry to keep it from tarnishing. It was funny. Because I was trying to get this topic, like get the information, get talking points really quick. So I just like used, I'll tell you guys, I used AI to help me out with a lot of things. Is it be all end all? No. I've told you guys, you got to look at it and read it. Oh, sure. Let me see if I can find it in one of, trying to see if someone had it in their basket here. I've got the basket sitting on my table here next to me. There we go. This was the aluminum chain that we were selling last night. It looks like this. So those were that's the silver. And if you guys would feel this compared to the other chain that is my favorite, that is an iron base, this one probably weighs 3 times the weight of that aluminum. And then here's what it looks like in gold. My jump rings I don't have next to me here to be able just to grab. These were, the aluminum ones are 10 by 6.5 by 1.8 millimeter. The other one is 6 by 4 millimeter. I do too. And I really like the aluminum one in that one because it gives you that big bulky look, but not the weight. If you get that one in like stainless steel, it is very heavy. So, but what I was talking about with the, I don't know if it does. I haven't looked for it. I keep looking for more stainless steel options to bring to the lives when we do the sales, and a lot of them are smaller. Like this. Size links. I can't tell you what size this one is. It's 0.7 is all I know for the gauge of it. But I don't know this stuff. I don't know. That one I use. That's my own. I've had that one for years. But I bring in a lot like that style when we're doing it. That one I don't know. This is literally on a spool that I've had for years and years. I mean, you can tell. I'm almost out. Let me see if I can get it here. I do have the number for it. Let me see if I can look that up. See if it's even still made anymore. Yep, this is a full roll of it. I don't sell it by the rolls. Because we talked about this on a live the other day, and I don't sell it on the rolls. Just a second, I gotta think while I'm like doing this. This one is 4 by 2.7. It's a flat oval. This one isn't stainless steel. This one's iron. And he is not tarnished. This is the color he was when I bought him. So So that's that. And, but that's the size of what I've been buying a lot of the stainless steel in for you guys lately. It might be a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller. Yeah, that one has not tarnished. And then this one here, you guys know, is my favorite. I don't keep it around long enough for this to get. The reason why I don't sell it by the roll is, number one, we talked about doing that. Depending on the roll size, it could be $25 to $50 for an entire roll. What we did talk about is that I will get 5-meter bags created and 1-meter bags. That one didn't say, it just said, let me look and see what it said. It just said flat oval. It didn't say anything beyond that. Let me look and see if I got more info when I go into it. It does not. Doesn't tell me if it's curb. I would say that's more curb chain. I don't know. Let me see what that one was. That one will have 100 meters on it. And that one would probably be around $30 for the roll. So that one has 100 meters. Nope. You're okay there, Chris. 100 meters, and that one would probably be around 30. I'm just giving an estimate here. So, and if I could get it on a day when I can get it less than what it's currently at, I could get it for, less that. But right now, with where it's standing at a price, that one would be around 30 for it. But we're going to bring in, and that's what we talked about in one of our lives. I asked because, like last night, some people were buying 5. So, Chris, I will try to let you know. That's why we're going to make a switch, and I'm going to have 5-millimeter size bags and 1-millimeter, because some people still want the 1-millimeter. They don't want 5. So we're going to bring in 5 and 1. In my next order that is shipping, we will have that. Yep. I know. And I'm like, she's the one that needs the roll. So if there's any time that you really want to roll, you just need to let me know and I can see if I can get it. And it literally is about getting in there and figuring out what it is that you guys want. And it comes down to what your guys' needs are. Yep, I totally get it. You see me teaching classes, making the kits, and all that kind of stuff. And when you do that, you need those larger quantities. But I'm going to go back to our tarnish and how do you keep your jewelry from tarnishing? I know you guys have probably seen it when I am showing jewelry. Oh, I appreciate all of you, Chris. Everybody, Chris, this is what I do with my jewelry. I know it sounds really weird. I keep it in bags. I keep the jewelry in a bag so that it doesn't tarnish. Most times this just came out of the bag. All I did while it was down there was just pull it up. It doesn't tangle in the bag. But if I keep this in the bag, it's not going to tarnish as much as if I were going to just leave it sit out. And I've even had, I will tell you, for a long time, for me to remember to put jewelry on, I had a cork board that was on the wall. You know how like sometimes you will have your door and your closet, your door will hit the closet. Like if you have not a walk-in closet, but just a regular closet in your bedroom, you'll have that door, or the closet and the door that you go in and out of your bedroom are on the same wall. So I took that wall and I hung up cork boards. And I put my jewelry in cork boards, took little, they're not sitting here. Oh, yep, they are. Little pins, just the stick pins that you use for sewing. stuck that on my cork board, and there's my jewelry. So I could kind of see what it was, and I wouldn't forget to put it on. And it was in bags so that it wouldn't tarnish. You can also do that with your bracelets and put them in the bags so that they don't get stretched out. I literally use bags to keep my jewelry in, to keep it from tarnishing. Everybody had, one of the things that I always wanted was one of those really pretty, really tall jewelry armoire jewelry box type thing. And yes, you can put them in the drawer and they won't tarnish as much, but you're still hanging your necklaces in there and there's still air there that they're exposed to. So I just never ended up buying one because I didn't want to expose my jewelry to the air as much. I have sterling silver that I don't even have to polish very often, like maybe once every 3 or 4 years, because I keep them in a bag. If you can keep the air away from your jewelry, that will help keep it not to tarnish. When I take things to the shows, they're in bags, and then I hang them up for my displays. I literally, when I would do in-person shows, everything was bagged up just to keep it from tarnishing. I also, I used to do it where I would wrap it in cloth. So I'd have this long piece of cloth and you'd put all your pieces on it and then roll it up. And that works too, but it would fall out of the top and the bottom. So I just switched to bags. That is literally, I will tell you how I keep my jewelry from tarnishing. I will live by that. Another thing that you do not do with your jewelry is that do not wear your jewelry, and some people call it the S's. Do not wear it in the shower. Do not wear it when you go swimming. Do not get your jewelry wet. I know, Candy, I know that sounds so simple and it sounds so really odd because we're so used to displaying our jewelry. It is a part of our personalities. It's like type thing. But when you put it in the bags, it keeps it from tarnishing. I have told you guys, I have pieces that I've had for years. I finally had one of my first pieces of jewelry. I have never restrung it. It finally needed to be restrung. But those first pieces, I have never kept in a bag. I do not know why. I just never put them in a bag. And those beads with the silver plated beads are tarnished and need to be replaced. The other beads that are in there, like it has pewter beads in there. Those do not need to be, those are just fine. The glass beads that are in there, they are just fine. The natural stones, they're fine. I need to replace all of the pewter and restring it. But I have them in a container and I need to figure out, do I want to change up what it looked like? But you have to understand, I also have been making jewelry for 20 years. It took it 20 years for those to be like, yuck. So that's why but if you, the other big thing is don't wear your jewelry in the shower. Do not wear your jewelry swimming. Don't get it wet. Like when I do in-person shows in the summer, I'm in South Dakota. You guys know, I told you last week, I made a video last Sunday. Our feel like temperature was in the hundreds for over 2 hours sitting there at a baseball game. I don't wear jewelry on those days out in public. Even though I sell jewelry, I sell my products, I purposely don't wear my jewelry on those days because my sweat is going to ruin my jewelry. And I will tell people, people will ask when we're there, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I make jewelry. And they're like, but you don't have any on. And I'm like, we're sitting in 100 degrees. I'm not ruining my jewelry by sitting in 100 degrees. I will show you pictures of it, but there's like common sense things. Like literally when I wear jewelry, it is like here on my lives, I will always wear jewelry. I will wear jewelry throughout the day while I was in the office because it's temperature controlled. I know that sounds weird, but when I go to events, I may not wear jewelry at an event. And I know I should be selling it, but I also want people to understand you can't wear it in 100-degree weather and think it's going to be okay. It's not going to last. And that's just the type of weather we have here. And I don't know how else all you feel. Please let me know. There are just days when you can't wear jewelry. And I won't even wear my wedding ring on those days because I get hot, I get swollen, and it's uncomfortable. My husband knows it. I'll tell everybody I'm married. And it's not a disrespect to him. I just cannot wear jewelry all the time. And that's me. Let me know. I know I just like spewed something. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think about 100-degree weather and jewelry. Thanks, Candy. I'm like, you can disagree with me and it's okay. I will take it and go, all right, I like that. Truly, you can disagree with me. Just like you're not going to wear your jewelry to the gym when you're sweating. If I went to the gym, you can tell I don't go to the gym. But if I go to the gym, I wouldn't want to be all dolled up in my makeup to have it running. Literally sitting at that baseball game, we went to it because we are cheering on our kid, which I will let you know, I'm going to say, he did phenomenal at that game. He has lost it. He had lost his mojo for baseball and could not hit the ball. He had 25 at-bats where he did not hit a ball, and that is not like him. He was very upset at the game before Sunday. We get to Sunday's game. He was amazing. Amazing. And I sat out in 100-degree weather, no jewelry, no makeup, and I was okay with it. I will come on here, you guys, you know, I will come on here with no makeup on too. Because we don't have to live in a materialistic where we have to look a certain way. That's how I feel. Sorry. Ooh, here's another thing. I just forgot about this until I'm like reading through this. Things to avoid, like we talked about, showering, swimming, when you're sweating. Try, when I put lotion on, okay, I have a question. Does anybody else do this? Do you take off all your jewelry when you go to put lotion on? If I'm putting lotion on my hands, I take off my rings. I take off my bracelets. I will lotion up because I may, go here. I don't want to hit my jewelry. I will take off all my jewelry when I go to lotion. And I lotion multiple times a day. You can't tell it with some of my skin, like here, it's really dry on me. But I will literally lotion. Yep. So, yeah. I take everything off, lotion it up, wait a couple of minutes, and then put it back on. Okay, I'm not the only one because you want to keep those things away from it. When I go to put my makeup and do my hair, my jewelry is not on my body because I don't want my hairspray to get around everything. So you just need to make sure you're protecting your jewelry when you're getting ready for the day. You can use those cloths. I have cloths that I just got at Walmart, and they're for polishing jewelry. You just bring them out, rub it on there, and then it will do it. Yeah, and I will tell you, 20 years ago, I would have told you I didn't wear jewelry. I wore things that were very special to me. 20 years ago, I wasn't with my husband. So I didn't have like a wedding ring. I had very, very baby diamond earrings. Because, I will tell you this, I have progressively gotten a little bit larger earrings as we've gotten into being older. I was brought up that if you start small and you save your money, you can get the next size. And then you save your money, you can get the next size. So I had very, very, very small diamond earrings that I'd wear every day. And then I would have a necklace that one of my grandmothers gave to me. And it was a black diamond, so it went with pretty much everything. Just a small black diamond heart necklace. And then I would just wear maybe something else. I hardly ever. And the day that my sister and I started, went and got taught, we learned how to make the stretchy bracelets. From then on, I started wearing a lot more jewelry. But there are days when I take a break from jewelry. There are days that I might only have one piece on. And there are days when I'm fully decked out. It just depends on the day. So, all right. And then we talked about earlier Some people put sealants on their plated or iron-based metals. I have a question because I have been asked if this would work or not, and I have no clue what works because I don't put those sealants on. Does anybody use the sealants? I have that question. And I know somebody, it might be Zuli, talked about putting clear fingernail polish on it. Okay, Candy, you're the same as me. And the thing is, now I can't go without earrings every day. That is like the one thing that I will put on because that doesn't like rings, my hands will swell when I'm hot outside. And if it's cold outside, my fingers decrease and I lose my, because we're in South Dakota, my rings will come off in gloves. Okay, Rose uses the Cryon Clear Spray. Geraldine still broke out from the nail polish. And they talk about using those for keeping the plating on. It's not a barrier for the metal, but it's to keep the plating on. And I just have never done it because I use bags. And okay, so you use that, Rose. Can I ask you, is it hard to put it on? Is it time consuming? Is it more for the making sure so you don't get that reaction? What do we use it for? I'm like curious. And I'm going to pause from talking while I wait. Okay. So Rose said it comes in a spray can or spray paint, and you just have to make sure you put it in a box to spray it. And then you do it outside. You have to let it dry and make sure you roll the pieces around. Candy says she sometimes does it. It's called Jewelry Aid, and it's a brush on. And she says you don't want to leave them. Rose said you don't want to leave them in one spot to dry. You want to move them occasionally. See, okay, so now that you're talking about the spray cans, do you ever open up your spray cans, Rose, when they're completely empty? And that might be something your husband will do for you because mine does. There's a reason why I asked this question. And we need to have a tutorial on it. Okay, she doesn't, but she's meaning to. She just keeps forgetting to do it. So when you shake a spray can and you hear that rattle is one of two things. It is either a glass ball, like a marble, or it is a piece of metal. Depending on the brands, and we've learned over the years that the brands of who's got that spray can will sometimes be marbles and which ones will be metal. The reason why I say that is that I actually create jewelry with those marbles that come out of spray cans. And we need to do a tutorial on it, but we have to do it in the kitchen. And I just have never figured out how I can get everything set up to do a live while we do that in my kitchen. Because we got to be, and you guys are going to laugh at why I say this, because you got to be in the oven and you got to be at the kitchen sink. And in my kitchen, they're on opposite sides of the kitchen. So how do you set that up so that you can see both? I might have to just be like, I got to carry you guys. That's why I'm asking, is because my husband opens up almost all spray cans now and gets those for me. So he was doing a lot more at the different jobs that he's done. He may have more spray cans at one job than another. And so we're always on the lookout for spray cans. And you never know what color you're going to get either, because they're not all clear. They're actually, most of them are mostly green is the most popular color. Every once in a while you get this brown, which is a really cool brown. It's like an medium amber color. And the coolest color, which is the least amount that you get, is the blue. And I don't like blue, but the blue in the spray can, when you crackle it and create it into jewelry, it's phenomenal. And you can just use regular marbles too. But we like to recycle those because it's just neat. And you know what, you guys? We're at our hour. Because usually when I do chat times, I go for an hour. It is a Saturday, so we could do a little bit longer. But I felt like I took over the whole hour and didn't answer anybody else's questions. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to ask everybody over here on TikTok, since, sorry, YouTube, I turned off your comments. Does anybody else have any questions about jewelry making or running the small business that they wanted to bring today? And I just totally sidetracked our conversation with metals and tarnishing. Yep. Thank you, Candy. They turn out to be the coolest necklaces. That's what I make them into, is necklaces. To me, they would be, because of the glass, it's heavy. I don't know that I want to make them into earrings. And I can't wire wrap worth a hoot, so I can't make it into a ring. All right. I don't see any comments for you guys for questions. I hope you guys were okay with me taking over the time and we talk about all the different metals. It's just I had gotten a question earlier today and it just sparked that maybe we should just talk about it. So we had more of like a discussion hour instead of a chat hour. Thanks, Rose. I appreciate that. It was just something I was like, I'm going to quick do the AI to get some talking points to make sure. And it was funny because I was looking over all these and I'm like, I could check off. I knew a lot of it. Some of it I didn't know, which I researched it before we brought it in and it's like, yep, that's true. So that's why I say, going back to using AI to help you out in your businesses, it helped me out. It saved me probably an hour or two of research, or me sitting there and creating the talking points and making sure I didn't forget anything. I agree with you, Candy. And if you can get that, I need to learn. I just seriously cannot get it. And I watch Alma do it all the time and she can just go. And I'm like, seriously, what's wrong with me on wire wrapping? I can only wire wrap the dangle and the rings. And they're, to me, very simple wire wraps. So someday I'll get it. I keep saying that. All right, everybody. I am going to hop off. Oh, you're very welcome. I was going to say, I'm going to hop off. I am going to continue to do invoicing. I got through S through Z, because I start at the end of alphabet and work my way to A, done this morning. And so I'm going to get in and finish up and go from A through R. So the R's I've started, and so a few R's have already gotten theirs. And that is if your TikTok name begins with an R, not that your first name begins with an R. So I will keep going and we'll get those done. I have to get them done by 4 o'clock today because Buttercup is having a sleepover and I don't want to be invoicing while Buttercup has her sleepover. Tomorrow, I will post what our schedule is for the next week. I will only be live Monday through Thursday next week, taking Friday and Saturday off from lives. And I want to have everything done with invoicing and all of that by Thursday night, maybe going into Friday morning a little bit. That will be my goal. I can't remember what games we have, so we may not have very many night lives. We might have a lot more day lives, but I also have my credit union's appreciation picnic that I have to serve food at on one day, and I have a hair appointment another day. So we're going to get all of our lives scheduled into a busy short week, but we'll get her done and we'll post that tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great weekend and we will see you later. Bye, everybody.